Let's talk about humor and the Yakuza series. I really enjoy the Yakuza series for the humor. Most of their jokes land. There are some cultural issues, but for the most part, I love all of the humor in these games. It's why I play the games. Whether it's slapstick or gentle, I love it all. It all works great. Except in Yakuza 6, where it all lands with a wet thud and goes nowhere. Now, obviously, humor is subjective, but if I like all their other stuff and I don't like this one thing, then chances are this one thing had something screwy going on, and I think that what was screwy was a massive budget crunch. It's pretty clear the game was rewritten and condensed, and then after that, the jokes just, whatever the first pass was, just, oh, we thought of a funny idea for a joke, put the idea in, but then forget to tell the joke, because that takes polishing, and we don't have time to polish. So what we end up with is execution that doesn't work. The joke concepts are there, but the actual joke needs a lot of polishing before it's ready for your set. Now, there is one joke in this game that does land perfectly, and I'm going to show you that one first, sort of to lay down the baseline of how Yakuza tells their jokes. So the setup for this joke is that this is the first beat of the game to teach us a tutorial fight. There's something in the corner of the bar that we keep looking down and keep looking back at, and we're waiting. There's something like, oh, is it time yet? No, I think they can wait. And then they come out here, we have this fight, and we're like, we're too busy to fight with you. We've got something to do. Stop fighting with us. We gotta go back and do something. And then that's when this part happens.
おかえりなさい。
どうにか間に合ったな。
ええ。さあ、桐生さん、これ。
いいよ、待たせたな。いい飲みっぷりだぜ、ハルト。
And there we go, the one bit of humor that lands. Now, this is not like a side splitter. It's not the world's greatest joke. How does my dog smell? This is a very basic kind of humor, but it does all of the things it needs to do. It has the right lead up. And it's like, oh, okay, well, there's something in the corner. There's something he's been putting off, and now he's doing it. And is it drugs? He's a Yakuza. He's doing something with white powder. What's this? We're a little bit lost. And then it's like, oh, it's a baby bottle. And he reveals it's a baby. And so the dismount is great, too, because we learn a lot about who this person is and what his responsibilities are. This is the first time he's been responsible for a baby, at least in any significant way. So this is a joke that furthers the story. It emerges out of the story. It flows with the narrative. This is the best kind of joke for the simple reason that it leaves your narrative stronger. Even if the joke doesn't land, even if nobody smiles, at the end of your joke, the narrative is stronger. Now, if you were going to, say, do the opposite of that, you would have something from down here. There it is. Like this guy. So now we're going to talk about a bad joke. And some spoilers here, so if you're allergic to spoilers, skip ahead. This is also about Haruto, the baby. Haruto was kidnapped, and we spent the past chapter and a half desperately searching for him, and things have been looking a little bit bleak. We finally got him back, and the game is playing it up as the most important thing in the world. This baby is absolutely critical, not just to us, but to everybody we know, and a lot of people we don't know. We all love this baby and want to protect him. So here we are. We're in a Yakuza headquarters. We got two family heads with us. A bunch of Yakuza dudes that all love the baby and want to protect the baby. And of course, us. Some ninja run up to the front of the building, and the last 3 lines are roughly, "Hold on tight to that baby. Everybody stay back and protect the baby. I'm gonna go fight the ninjas." And so we do. We walk out, we fight the ninjas. And this happens just after we finished fighting the ninjas to protect the most important thing in the game, the one thing that matters, the baby. Let's take a look at how they flub it. Notice this is tense. They're playing up the tension of this scene. Oh, look. They dropped the ball already. So, when I saw this, I presumed that this guy was a traitor, because it makes no sense otherwise. Why did he leave the Yakuza headquarters on his own and carry the baby out into a pack of ninjas? Why would he do that? Obviously, he must be a traitor, right? Where did all the other people that were protecting the baby go? Did he off them? Did he poison them? How did he get away from them? Because they had this massive vested interest in protecting the baby. So, where did they go? And the answer is... there is no answer. He's out here because he had to be out here to tell the joke. Everybody else forgot about him because they had to forget about him in order to tell the joke. They sabotage the narrative to try and tell the joke, and that's not going to work because we're not in the right mood to hear your fucking joke. We're too busy being angry at the fact that this doesn't make any sense, and that the most important thing in the game has gone out of its way to tell us that Haruto, the baby, is the most important thing in the game and is in danger and needs to be protected absolutely because the baby could be killed or kidnapped, used in foul schemes. This is not a joking matter to the player because the game has specifically said it's not a joking matter. Yeah, if you want to make jokes about endangering babies, that's fine. Especially if you're like a Daffy Duck cartoon and you know the baby's not going to be in danger. Otherwise, it's kind of bleak. But even then, it's fine. But if you have to sabotage your entire narrative to tell a joke about the baby, maybe that's not going to work out so well because the player's not going to be in the mood to hear the joke, and even if they do like the joke, the narrative will be destroyed. It'll be in ruins. And that's exactly why this joke completely fails to land. Because the joke is that they play touch football with the baby. How do I unpause? There it is. So, they are literally playing touch football with the baby. It's not like kind of reminiscent of touch football. It's not like sensible in any way. The ninjas that were wielding swords and trying to kill people are now playing touch football. And we're playing touch football, and it's touch football, but with epic music. Now, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with like epic music over something inane. That's fine. It's a mainstay of the humor of this genre. But it doesn't work because we haven't been set up right. The stakes are far, far too high. If they were playing touch football with, something completely irrelevant, like a pretend baby or, a grocery bill or just something stupid, then having the epic music and the touch football and all that stuff would make sense. But in this scene, it's literally life and death. There is a baby being hurled around, and there's no particular reason to think this baby is immortal. We have just been shown lots of footage of dead people being dead, like graphic dead. We have just established within the past 5 minutes that people die gruesomely in this universe. Let's throw the baby around and play touch football with ninjas. And all of this could have been resolved with a couple more passes, right? They could have made this work if they tweaked it a little bit. The intro, the outro, the way that it's portrayed. Because this idea has some funny backbone behind it. Portraying this epic, tense moment, and the baby's like, yay! That's, Mr. Magooing it up. Sounds like fun. But they don't set it up right, they don't play it off right, and the outro, it doesn't pay off well. It doesn't strengthen the narrative, it radically weakens it. So the payoff here could have been quite good. Spoilers, Yuta's the father, and he has been refusing to actually accept that. He has been kind of not taking responsibility for the baby in an aggressive way, and we've been calling him out for it. So the idea that he is the final person to catch the baby and run off to protect the baby, this is good. It's him literally taking responsibility for his kid. That could have been an excellent payoff. Do you want to know what happens instead? The baby is kidnapped off screen in 5 seconds. So you completely sabotaged the only part of this joke that could have made it stronger, that could have made the narrative work? The baby has now been kidnapped because Yuta just failed to protect it off screen. So the actual payoff for this joke is this nonsensical fight against Jung Han. This makes no sense. It's not even worth going into why, because it's not. It doesn't make the narrative any stronger to have that touch football ninja section and then have this life and death fight with Jung Han. Like, the fuck? We could have had a life and death struggle with Jung Han without needing a touch football session. There's no payoff for the touch football. All it does is weaken the narrative and then fail to land. To me. Maybe your sense of humor is different. But I just wanted to hammer home. This is the difference between good humor and bad humor when told by the same group. It's all in the execution. The idea of this, touch football with a baby because the baby is completely unconcerned and is obviously not in any actual physical danger, that could land. It could be very funny to have a baby Mr. Magooing through a dangerous scene. But you can't do it after having established that people are dead, gruesomely murdered because of this baby, and this baby was missing and kidnapped and will be kidnapped again and needs to be protected against people who gruesomely murder people. And then you make the joke by having one of the people who is most invested in protecting the baby forget to protect the baby right after being told to protect the baby. It's not at the level of ding, CinemaSins. It's at the level of completely sabotaging your own narrative to try and tell a joke that didn't land anyway. And the only reason that this happened is because their production schedule was so condensed that they couldn't go back and refine it at all. They just had to go with their first instinct on everything because they did not have time to actually check and see if they could make it make sense and make it work. So anyhow, if you're planning to do lighthearted moments in your games, understand that they are so much stronger if they strengthen the narrative. For example, that first bit. We'll just go back to that. At the end of this, we understand more about what's going on. We understand more about who the main character is and their responsibilities, and we understand that they are much warmer than they look. And that's really important to setting up the rest of the game. Whereas down here, we don't learn shit. We unlearn stuff instead. Have a good one.